What if I told you that one of the world's biggest action stars publicly insulted a pregnant waitress in front of an entire restaurant, and the man who stood up to him wasn't loud, wasn't angry, but completely stole the moment with just a few calm words? This isn't a movie. This actually happened. And the man who rose from his seat was none other than Keanu Reeves. What he did next left the entire restaurant speechless, and the internet on fire. If you think kindness has disappeared in Hollywood, this story will change your mind. It was supposed to be just another ordinary celebrity dinner, glamorous, loud, and full of camera flashes. The restaurant, a luxurious spot in the heart of Beverly Hills, glowed with soft candlelight and quiet laughter. But in an instant, that warm, buzzing atmosphere turned ice cold.
Why?
Because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, sitting with his entourage, had just made a comment that left everyone in stunned silence. A visibly pregnant waitress had walked up to his table with a polite smile, asking if they needed anything else. Instead of a simple thank you, The Rock smirked and said, loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear, "Yeah, how about not bumping into the tables with your stomach?" Conversations died instantly. The clinking of silverware stopped. A few people gasped. The waitress froze, her face quickly flushing with embarrassment. She tried to laugh it off, but her eyes betrayed her, glistening with held-back tears. And then, from a quiet booth in the corner of the room, someone slowly rose to his feet. Calmly, deliberately. It was Keanu Reeves. He didn't yell. He didn't raise his voice or rush across the room. Instead, Keanu Reeves calmly stood up, his hands casually tucked into his coat pockets, his eyes steady and fixed on The Rock. The entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath as he walked toward the table. People began whispering quietly, sensing that something unexpected, something big, was about to unfold. When Keanu reached the waitress, he looked at her gently, lowering his voice as he asked, "Are you okay?" She gave a quick nod, clearly overwhelmed and embarrassed, her eyes glossy with emotion. Keanu then turned to The Rock. There was no anger in his face, only a deep, quiet disappointment. And somehow, that expression struck harder than any loud confrontation ever could. "Was that necessary?" Keanu asked, his voice soft but unwavering. The Rock gave a short, awkward chuckle and muttered, "Come on, man, it was a joke." Keanu paused for a moment, letting the silence stretch before replying in a firm, almost sad tone, "If that's your idea of a joke, I don't want to laugh." The mood in the room shifted instantly. Everyone's attention had now shifted entirely to the waitress. Her name tag read Emily. She stood frozen, her hands fidgeting nervously with her notepad, trying to hold herself together. She gave a shaky smile and tried to brush it off, whispering, "It's okay, really," but her voice betrayed her. It cracked mid-sentence. "I'm just doing my job. I'm due in 2 months. I didn't mean to bump into anyone," she added, her voice trembling. Her eyes welled up, and soon enough, tears began to silently roll down her cheeks. The embarrassment, the insult, the eyes of the entire restaurant, it was too much. Keanu, standing beside her, didn't hesitate. Without saying a word, he gently slipped off his jacket and placed it over her shoulders. Then, in a voice filled with genuine compassion, he said something unexpected. "I'm sorry you had to deal with that. No one deserves to be spoken to like that, especially someone working this hard." His words weren't loud, but they carried weight. The Rock sat silently, his head lowered, but Keanu wasn't finished. "Not yet." Keanu slowly turned to face the entire restaurant. The room had gone so still, you could hear the distant hum of the kitchen. His voice was soft. He wasn't trying to dominate the room, but every word he spoke carried weight, landing with quiet power. "We admire celebrities. We cheer them on. But respect isn't a one-way street," he began. "Fame doesn't excuse bad behavior. And kindness, that costs nothing." A few people nodded in agreement. Others exchanged glances, visibly moved. A couple even started clapping gently. Keanu didn't wait for applause. He wasn't looking for praise. He turned back to The Rock, who now sat silently, his jaw tight, his eyes avoiding everyone's gaze. Keanu didn't shame him. He didn't get personal. He simply said, "You're a role model. People look up to you. Please act like it." Then, with no drama, he reached into his wallet, pulled out a thick stack of $100 bills, and placed it in the waitress's hand. "For your baby." and for the strength it takes to smile through this. The applause that followed was thunderous. By the next morning, the entire internet was talking about it. Videos, blurry photos, and audio clips of the incident had started circulating across every social media platform: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook. People couldn't stop sharing headlines like "Keanu Reeves defends pregnant waitress against The Rock" and asterisk, "The classiest man in Hollywood strikes again." Asterisk, the moment had gone viral, and the public reaction was intense. The Rock, realizing the backlash, issued a formal apology later that week. He called it a bad joke that went too far, and said he regretted his words. Some people accepted his apology, others weren't so forgiving. But Keanu, he didn't say a word. No statement, no press interview, no social media post. Not even a subtle reference. Because that's just who he is: quiet, strong, kind. He didn't do it for attention. He did it because it was right. And in that moment, the world was reminded of something powerful. True character isn't shown in bright lights or loud speeches. It's shown in how you treat people, especially when you think no one's watching. But this time, everyone was. If this story touched your heart or gave you a little hope in humanity, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us out. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and if you love stories that inspire, shock, or move you, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one. Until then, stay kind, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next story.